What's up, Internet? My name's Ian Bloom. Welcome to Nerd Finance. I'm your resident financial life planner and huge nerd. In today's episode, I'm going to be covering how respawning and cash flow are ultimately very intertwined. You see, when you respawn in a video game, all you're doing is going back to the start with all the information you just learned. Did you die to a boss? Or are you in a multiplayer game and you keep dying to this one guy who just ultimately has your number? How are you going to beat them, and what information did you gain on your last life that will allow you to do better at that, right? Well, cash flow is basically the same thing. At the beginning of the month, you receive a new paycheck and you have opportunities to learn from your mistakes in the past month. Now, you might, unlike a respawn, have some carryover problems. You might have a little bit of debt that you accumulated the previous month, or you might have made a mistake and spent a little bit more money than you wanted to on consumer goods. But ultimately, at the beginning of the month, it is now your chance to reinvent yourself and do a little bit better than you did before. You see, everything in finance comes back to cash flow. It is actually the most important part of your financial life. And the behaviors that you exhibit through your cash flow will ultimately determine a lot of your financial outcomes. For instance, when you save money, it's ultimately because you chose to save that money over spending it on other things. And when you accumulate debt, it's ultimately because you chose to spend more money than you earn. So, like respawning, cash flow is just an opportunity for us to go back to start and do better in a way that's very important to our lives, as opposed to something as silly as gaming, if you want to call it silly. The last point that I want to make about cash flow, especially as it pertains to respawning, is the only way that you do better the next time you approach it is if you learn something from that previous data point, like I mentioned. So how do you make sure that you learn something from your cash flow each month? It's simple, you track it. So whether you choose to use an online tool like You Need a Budget or Mint to track it, or you choose to do the old Dave Ramsey envelope system where you literally take all of your paycheck and put it into different envelopes for what you're going to spend it on. Whatever your system is, tracking your cash flow will ultimately show you what you value and what you're spending your money on, or where you can do better in terms of expressing your values through your finances. Anyway, I hope this video was super helpful for you. Thinking about cash flow in terms of a gaming lens is something that is always helpful to me, because ultimately I'm always trying to min-max my life. So if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more. Thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.